Just before going to Nepal, I have been eating pretty much a raw food diet, mostly fruits. Like I'd say for a good 10 days, maybe 2 weeks. Just before going to Nepal, I've been eating raw foods. For about a week before going to Nepal, I was eating just fruits. And I went to Nepal. First 3 days, I kept eating the fruits. I didn't cheat. I didn't want to cheat. I've been there, done that. I've been in Thailand for 4 months. The first three, I spent it just getting all the food cravings out of my system. I tried all the Thai dishes, all the vegan restaurants. So I am over this food of civilization at this point. So when I went to Nepal, I wasn't tempted to eat the Nepalese food or anything like that. I didn't actually want to. I just continued to eat fruits. After 3 days, where I was staying in this hotel in downtown, I went to this family guest house. Very, very nice people. Nice place at the outskirts of Kathmandu. And I stayed there for 3 nights, 3 days. And so the first day, they offered me dinner. They said, we would very much like you we would like to invite you for dinner. We have this national food, it's national Nepalese food. It's called Dalbat. And we would like to offer you dinner tonight. And they said it, and they're very polite. It's this couple with these two young kids, like 4 years old and 2 years old. And you know what? I said yes. I wasn't gonna say no. Okay, I wasn't gonna say no. Despite me being on this raw and even fruitarian diet now for 2 weeks, despite me being on a momentum and actually legitimately not having any cravings, like it's not. When they invited me for dinner and I said yes, I wasn't like, oh, yes, I can't wait to try this food. It wasn't like that at all, because like I said, I've been in Thailand for 4 months. I went to every conceivable vegan restaurant there is in Pai, in Koh Phangan. I tried all the different Thai dishes. Like I got it all out of my system. So now when I was there, the last thing on my mind was trying the Nepalese food. That was the last thing on my mind. But I said yes. I didn't want to be dogmatic. I didn't want to be attached, because I saw that in that moment, the most harmonious thing for me to do would be to accept the dinner offer and to eat whatever they served me, whether I liked it or not. Because from their point of view, that's their way of honoring their guest, and that's their way of bonding socially with their guests. And that's how many people in the world do it. I come from a Middle Eastern background, right? And if a Middle Eastern house invites you over to sleep, and they really want to bond with you, it's going to be over lunch or it's going to be over dinner. That's when you really get to bond with the family. And it would be considered even rude if you declined the lunch or the dinner invitation. And in that particular case, I just felt like this is the most harmonious thing for me to do here, is to accept the dinner offer and to eat whatever that was offered to me, which was a very nice, cooked, delicious, simple, Dalbat simple. It's rice and cooked vegetables. Simple meal. Okay, so it was a simple meal, and even if it wasn't simple, I would still go ahead and eat it, because that's the way they do it. I'm in their house. They invited me. They were very polite about the invitation. And I just feel like, I could have come up with so many excuses. I could have said, I have a little bit of a stomachache, I can't eat, or I'm sick, or something like that. I could have said anything to weasel myself out of the dinner invitation. But I couldn't do it. It just wasn't, it didn't seem like the harmonious thing to do. For me, it felt like the most harmonious thing for me to do. Said, absolutely, like it would be my pleasure to join you in the dinner, which is exactly what I did. And it was a bonding experience, because that's how most humans bond. They bond over food. It's bizarre, actually, how food got associated with social bonding, and it got associated with happiness and joy and celebration. But there is 3D for you, ladies and gentlemen, okay? And I feel like as outsiders, because we're outsiders, the people on the Breatharian path, the star seeds and stuff, the people with all these higher vibrational ideas that they bring into this dimension, into this density, so we're a little bit different. There's a difference in there. But I think that it's wise and smart to honor some of these things, some of these traditions, some of these ways of doing things. Like, again, from the guest's point of view, they wanted to bond with their guest, and the way they did it is by inviting me to dinner, by cooking something. They really cooked a very nice meal, and they were very considerate, because it was me and another guest also. They didn't make the food spicy. They were cooking specifically for us, for the guests. That's their way of honoring the guests. And I feel like, again, declining that dinner invitation, it would have drawn some lines between me and them, and they would have felt it, and they would have perceived it at some level or other as rude behavior. Now, does that mean that you go out and whatever people offer you, you just say, yes, let's go, let's do it here, I'm inviting you for dinner today, and then tomorrow another friend of yours invites you for dinner, blah, 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 and you're like, man, how can I do this? I'm getting invited left, right, and center, and I can't eat healthy that way. Well, you gotta look at the context. I'm there for 3 nights. Okay, that's it. I've been eating just fruits, or let's say just raw foods, mostly fruits, for 2 weeks. Okay, I got this shit under control, first of all. It's not like I got all the cravings out of my system. So, looking at it in the grand scheme of things, it's just 3 nights, 3 dinners. That's it. And then after that, I could just get back to eating the way I am eating. And whatever, even if the foods that I ate had something in it, some whatever, that my body will handle it. It's okay. It's okay. All right. In fact, what I did, because I knew that they were gonna invite me for dinner for the next 2 days, is I just ate the dinner that they offered me. So I just fasted. I just water fasted, because I anticipated that I'm gonna be eating some food that isn't optimal for me. This and that. I'm just gonna water fast, and that's what I did. So whatever thing in the food, because pretty much anything that isn't fruits isn't optimal for your body. Okay, it's gonna cause some mucus. Like the foods that I ate, they had like Indian spices and stuff like that in it. It's pretty heavy. You feel it right away with the burps and everything, and the farts and whatever. But you swallow your pride. You get on with it. It's not like I'm gonna do this every day. It's just 3 nights, 3 days, and I'm gonna water fast just to offset any issues that arise from eating these foods that don't really belong in my body. So I will just shift over some of my habits, do some things a little bit differently for 3 days. I'll minimize the consequences of having foods that aren't optimal in my body. And I will honor these people that are doing their best to honor me by accepting their food, by accepting the way they do things. I am in their house after all. Okay? And I did that, and I found it to be the most harmonious thing that I could have done. Instead of coming up with excuses or saying this or that or declining the dinner invitation, blah blah blah. And we really bonded over the dinners. We bonded every time we sat down, and it was like a bonding moment. Took our time eating, we took our time talking. That's just the way they do it. That's the way they do things. And so then, after 3 days, I checked into another hotel, stayed there for 3 more nights, and off I go. And then I observed the way I eat normally in the hotel. Okay, just everything went back to normal. And it's like, when you look at it like that, because a lot of times we do get, like, we could have easily felt guilty, like, oh no, I shouldn't eat this, oh no, or oh my god, what's gonna happen, oh, I'm breaking the momentum, 2 weeks gone down the drain. I could have easily said that. Or let me just play around a little bit here. I'm just gonna water fast for these 3 days and just eat once whatever they offer me. which will offset some of the consequences, and it's just 3 days, and I'll just, like, it's not like I'm doing this every day, and that's all right. So there's a difference. Sometimes you do have to step in. It's all context based. Sometimes you do have to step in and say no, like no. And other times you just you how can I put this? You adapt to your situation until it passes. And if I knew it was just going to be 3 nights, it's just going to be 3 days. So I'm just going to adapt to it. I'm going to make the most of it. I'm going to honor these guests. I'm not going to I'm not going to swim against the current, because the current is I'm in the house of a traditional Nepalese family, and that's the way they do things, and that's the flow. And they offer their guests food. And I know if I was back home in the Middle East where I grew up, and if my family had guests and they declined their dinner offer or something, my parents would probably take it as rude at some level or other. So that family might have easily, if I had declined their offer, might have very easily perceived it as a rude behavior from me. Right? I mean, really, they probably would have. You see? So, flexibility, I think, is important. Especially, I mean, consistency is the most important thing. If you're consistent in the way you eat, then you can afford to be flexible in these situations. You could afford to do something that you otherwise normally, when you're in your own zone, in your own home, in your own flow, wouldn't do. So you could play around with it if you're consistent. It's very important to be consistent. And if you're just starting out on a particular diet or something or other, it does often require you to be in your own zone and not actually leave it. Meaning, if I had just started embarking on this journey of lightening up my diet, right? Maybe I could not have afforded to accept these dinner offers, because it might have set me on a path of indulgence and on a path of cravings and on a path of eating all kinds of wrong foods. Okay? Because I'm not yet grounded in it. But because I was so grounded in it, I could afford to say yes to those dinner offers. You understand what I'm saying? But in the first stages of me trying to get grounded into the lifestyle, I probably in all likelihood shouldn't even travel outside where my home is. You see, if it's that important to me. Because whenever you travel, this is why traveling too much, like I talked about it in a previous video, it's unhealthy. Your sleep suffers, your eating habits suffer, it all suffers. Okay? So perhaps if I wasn't grounded in this lifestyle, I couldn't even afford to travel. When I say I couldn't afford, I'm not talking financially. Okay? I'm talking metaphorically. I couldn't really afford to travel because I'm not yet grounded in certain lifestyle habits that are very important to me, such as the diet that I eat, the foods that I choose to put in my body, etc., etc., etc. You see? And so if my foundation is not strong enough in certain aspects, then I might as well stay home, wherever home is for me, establish myself, ground myself, root myself into these certain healthy lifestyle habits that I choose to entertain, that I choose to adopt. And from there on, if I do travel, if I happen to be somewhere, whatever, and if the rules need to be broken, fine. The rules need to be broken, they will be broken, but only temporarily. I think for me, this prepared me somewhat for traveling back home to my family in Qatar, in the Middle East, which will be in about 2 months from now. Because I'm not gonna exactly be able to maintain 100% raw foods or fruits life there. It's just not gonna, especially I'm gonna be staying there for 3 weeks, maybe a month, right? I really wanna make my mom happy because I haven't seen her in a while. Let's be honest here, I'm not gonna be able to do it 100%. Okay, because there's gonna be certain relatives that are gonna invite me for lunch, for dinner, etc., etc. And there will be times where I have to draw a line. There will be times where I will draw a line. Okay, so an example of something that I might do. Now my mom knows I only eat fruits Okay, but something that, for example, I could do is I once a week I could because my mom will feel good about this. I could tell my mom, hey mom, so and so food that my mom knows all the foods that I like that she cooked growing up. You know, maybe once a week. If I'm there 4 weeks, that's 4 times. I could tell my mom just to make her feel happy and stuff. I could be like, Mom, today I feel like eating rizubami. Rizubami, it's like cooked okra and rice. I could be like, today I feel like eating this. How about you make it today? She's gonna be very happy. She'll make it. We'll sit down. We'll eat it. It'll be fun, right? It'll be fun. Then the other 6 days, I could be, because my mom knows I only eat fruits now, right? I could just be eating fruits. You see? So breaking the rules like that, I feel like you can afford to do it if you ground yourself, if you root yourself enough in the lifestyle, then to initiate some form of social bonding with certain people in your life, such as your mother or people you're visiting their country who are hosting you for a couple of nights, right? Then you do that kind of stuff, and I'll make sure when my mom makes me these occasional cooked meals, I'll make sure first of all to enjoy them, right? First of all. Second of all, I'll make sure to, dry fast the day before for like 20 hours. I'll make sure to drink plenty of water after to stay as much hydrated as possible, because these foods, they, with the salt and everything and the dehydration of the water, they leave you feeling thirsty. So I'll make sure to drink plenty of water after. So I'll do these things. I'll make my mom happy. She'll still feel, because imagine I'm there, I'm never eating with my family ever. Then there is that feeling for an entire month. There is that feeling of distance also. But if I can join them once a week, maybe even twice a week, okay, just tell my mom easy on the salt, maybe some things like that, right? Maybe at the most, no more, twice a week. Then the other 5 days I'm eating the way I'm eating. Then they'll feel, my mom especially will feel like, okay, he's still part of us. In a small way, he's still part of us. You see? Same thing like my relatives inviting me. It'll have to be some form of something, okay? I'll have to play around it as well. You see? So these things I think we all have to do at some level or other. It's not easy being on the breatharian path, because we all come from families that are just following norms and social behaviors and stuff like that, and it's not easy, and sometimes we do have to break some rules in certain situations. Now, if it's different, if I say I was living with my family right now every day, then it would be a different story, because now I gotta be in some form of control of my lifestyle. So it's different, but I know if I'm going there just for a month, I know if I'm established in a fruitarian lifestyle, and if I keep it up there 70% of the time, right, then I'll use that other 30% as a form of social bonding, because I know that after that I'm leaving for 11 months and I'm back into whatever, I'm back into eating fruits and possibly even a fasting lifestyle, because now I'm trying to move into eating every other day also. It's something I'm looking to move into shortly. So that's perhaps maybe something I could do there also when I visit my family, is to just eat every other day, and then that'll make it even easier for me to break the rules, because then I know that I'm going to be fasting the next day. So then I know that I will offset any detrimental effects of whatever foods that I consume. That's probably a good way of doing it as well. So I will definitely have to do something specially for that month to offset, first of all, the harm, the detrimental effects of the foods of civilization, what Arnold Ehret called. But at the same time, because I know that I am in command of my lifestyle totally for the other 11 months, it's alright. I'll break some rules for now. It's okay, just to make my mom happy, just to make her feel like I still am. Yes, I'm not a total alien here. I'm still a little bit part of you, a little bit, just a little bit. It'll make you happy. Okay, that's fine. I'm gonna eat every other day anyway. So on those days that I break the rules, I'll just drink extra water. Maybe I'll extend my fast. Blah blah blah. You see, and we really, for each one of us individuals, we come up with our own balance. Okay, for some of us, you don't even ever see your family. Okay, maybe your family passed away, or you just never see them, or your family doesn't really care. To them, they don't take it as a big deal. Whatever. You may never have to break any rules, right? You know, for some of you guys, you may have to actually say no to the whole thing, because you may live with your parents. So you may just have to do your own thing completely. You know, just tell your, like, you know, mom, hey, like, I'm just, when you cook, don't put me in the picture. Like, don't cook, if your mom cooks for 5 people, tell her just cook for 4 people. That's what I did back in high school. Okay, I was eating the gym food, the gym bro food, like canned tuna and stuff like that. And I told my mom, I wasn't eating with my family. I just was always eating my own food. Okay, my mom didn't like it, but at the time, I just needed to establish myself in my own lifestyle. I was living with them every day. I was seeing my mom every day. But it's a different story now, because I see my mom once a year, if that. So then when it comes to it, I might be more inclined to break some rules, because I know I'm just there for a month. I know the other 11 months I'm in total command. So it really depends, different context, different everything. If I was living with my mom right now, my parents, I probably never would break any rule. I'd probably just straight edge it. Just you know, I just will not break any rules, because I'm living with them. I'm there 24/7. But it's a different case if I'm gonna go see you for a few weeks and I'm not seeing you for the other time. So I might break some rules just to make us feel like we're bonded together. Okay? So it's different. I say don't be too dogmatic about your choices, as long as you're making the right choices 95% of the time. Okay? If you're making the right choices 95% of the time, we are in a society that's backwards in its thinking, that is operating at third density. We're here to change it. And while we do, there are certain social bonds that we have with certain individuals that love us, that we love. And from time to time, we may have to break the rules just to keep it flowing. Okay? Just to keep it flowing. All right? And who knows? I may break the rules this year. Maybe the year after I see my mom. Maybe I won't. Maybe I'll decide, you know what? No. Maybe I'll change my mind. Maybe I'll be like, you know what? I did break the rules last year, but I don't find it necessary to break them this year. This year, I find it necessary. I haven't seen my mom in 2 years, my family in 2 years. So I do find it necessary to, from time to time, sit down with them and have dinner with them or have lunch. Maybe the year after, I won't find it so necessary, because maybe I saw that I did it last year, but it didn't make a big difference or something. So again, it really is, again, it is all very much context-based. Okay? So I just wanted to share this with you guys, and I appreciate all the Patreons and all the people who support via the one-time donations on PayPal, or via being members on a part of the family. If you want to be part of the family, a couple of bucks a month, that's all. So the links are in the description. Saeed Mobayed at Instagram. And until next time, may the force be with you.